It may be 4 minutes, but I promise you this. Not one time in those 4 minutes will I lift my leg like a pink flamingo, nor will I stick my tongue out while I talk. So, my name is Bobby Field, and I get the pleasure, the privilege every week of playing drums with this amazing group of people, this worship team. And it's really been a blessing for me. And I can tell you that they love you, Parkway. They care about you. They pray for you. Most of all, they have a true and genuine love for God. And it is a true honor for me to play with you guys. Thank you for allowing that. And you would ask, how does one come to play drums at Parkway? Well, I'll tell you, there are no coincidences in life. Only God's divine plan. And 10 years ago, I was a lost, selfish, dazed and confused person. Now, I didn't think that from these eyes looking out, but I can tell you I was a less than perfect husband, less than perfect father, son, and friend. And so 10 years ago, God put it in my heart that I needed to become the spiritual leader of my family. I had no idea what that meant, but I felt compelled to go and find a church. So I went to pretty much every church within a 10-mile radius of Sugar Land, and I just couldn't find that place where I felt home. One Saturday morning I was playing tennis. My opponent dispatched me rather quickly, and I had some free time, and the guy next to me, his opponent didn't show up, and so I went over and introduced myself to Bruce Harsha, and we played, and afterwards we were talking about, kids, family, where do you work, where do you go to church, and I told him my dilemma, and he said, why don't you come to Parkway? And I said, well, where is Parkway? He said, we meet at the club at New Territory, the basketball court. I said, that's awesome, that's exactly what I'm looking for, the church that meets on a basketball court. And so I went. And there on a makeshift stage was Asher leading worship with Debbie Fancher singing backup, Teresa on keyboards, Bruce Rayburn playing bass, and John Ferguson was on drums, and of course Paul Kleins was the pastor, and I was pretty much hooked, and I went on a regular basis after that. But more importantly, my family started attending church too, because there are no coincidences. Paul Kleins and I became very good friends, and one Monday at lunch, we were talking about what we did in high school. I mentioned that I was a drummer, and he said, did you read your bulletin from church yesterday? And I said, no, but it's on my desk at work for some reason. It was in my car, and I don't know why it's on my desk. Again, there are no coincidences. He said, well, why don't you read the prayer request in the back? And I said I would. And I got back to the office, and I started reading. The first one was, please God, let Rick Figueroa quit being so obnoxious. The second one, we'll let that resonate a little bit. The second one was that God prayed for a drummer for Parkway, because when we moved from the one basketball court to the really nice basketball court, John Ferguson was going to have to take up his responsibilities as the youth pastor, so they needed a drummer. And I said, yeah, that's going to happen. So I called Paul and told him, you're crazy. You think Bobby Field's going to come play drums at church? There is no way. And he said, well, do this for me. I want you to pray about it. And I said, well, I don't know how to pray, but I'll think about it. He said, that's okay, because thinking is praying. And so I said, whatever. Hung up the phone. A friend of mine, Cody Fletcher, was there. He went to, and I told him the story, he went to H&H Music that day, and he bought me a pair of drumsticks. It was real sweet. Put them on the windshield wipers underneath on my car. When I left work that day, I got the drumsticks. That's really cute. He drew crosses on them, the whole bit. And I threw them in the seat next to me, and I didn't really think much of it. On the way home from work that day, I was thinking about playing drums at Parkway. Actually, I was thinking about how I was going to tell Paul that there was no way I was playing drums at Parkway. Scott, if you put that picture up. But on my way home on the Grand Parkway, right underneath the railroad trestle before 90, where McDonald's and Ruthie's, on the car bumper in front of me, not a bumper sticker, but on the bumper you can see a pair of drumsticks. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of freaked me out. So I started thinking, after I took a picture of it, because nobody would believe it, especially me, and I looked to make sure the other drumsticks were still in my car. That would really freak me out. And I thought maybe I ought to give this a try. So December 1st, 2001, we moved in this really nice basketball court. And on December 24th, Christmas Eve, I played drums for the first time at Parkway. Not only did I play drums for the first time at Parkway, but I played drums dressed in the Santa Claus suit. And not only did I play drums dressed in a Santa Claus suit, but I actually spoke that night. Was I nervous? No. I was scared to death. But that night, I felt God wrap His arms around me. And He told me, you're going to be okay. I got you. And I don't care whether this is your first day at Parkway, your 5th day, your 505th day. If God can accept a selfish, self-centered sinner like me, believe me, anything you have, He can handle. So when the junk of the world comes knocking, let God answer the door, because He can take care of it for you. I promise you that. And Marty, you told me I had 3 minutes. I'm 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So in closing, and as a good personal friend of Paul Klein's, who started this church, I'm here to say that when he left a big void. But the church he went to is better today because he's there. And as a friend of Paul Klein's, I can tell you that Parkway is better today, Marty. When your spaceship landed here, we were truly blessed. And I will tell you that God, either through you or in spite of you, has blessed us with His Word. And Parkway, you've blessed me. Thank you. God bless.